Hello, everybody, and welcome to number one Kappa Corporation versus their number four ranked opponent, the King's Court. Mechanus Cadicius here with Raptor as we get ready for game number one's picks and bans phase. And Raptor, what are some of the things you're going to be looking for in this matchup?
Well, this is the Puddles division, so it's almost impossible to know exactly what to expect with the Puddles division and what these players are looking for. Most of the time, you'll just see them echoing what the higher level players are playing, but you'll also see them going to comfort quite a bit too. So I'm expecting to see some meta things, but a lot of weird as well. But at the same time, the picks that I expect to not see, Camazotz, Cthulhu, Nuwa, Lancelot, Medusa, I expect all of those to be banned in this first round.
Personally, I'd be very surprised if we don't see a Kumbhakarna ban, not just here in QSL, but around the amateur leagues as a whole. One of the things that we keep seeing is teams that get a hold of this Kumbhakarna in that support role, even in maybe solo, are just really handing it to their opponents right now. If you give up this pick, it seems just too strong to handle at the moment. As Kamazot's going to be the first ban in the set, Kappa Corporation going to ban out the Bat out of Hell.
Yeah, the Bat Out of Hell not going to be showing up in this game, along with the Lancelot, two guys that we saw quite a bit in the set earlier on. We actually saw them go head-to-head in the Deep Sea semifinals that we saw earlier today. And, yeah, both of them did work. I am not surprised to see either of them getting through. Cthulhu banned out on the other side, followed immediately by a Nuwa, two very strong gods in the current meta. Cthulhu just gives you so much space control. Cthulhu goes big, turns brain off, and just throws stuff at you. That's the whole thing with Cthulhu, and it is almost impossible for you to deal with him in this current meta. So I completely understand getting rid of him. The Nuwa, just a very strong mid laner, does excessive amounts of damage. It's actually insane how much damage a Nuwa 2-3 combo can do. So far, top 6 bans, nothing out of the ordinary. Something I do want to note is that the Medusa did go through, and as well as that Kumbhakarna, I'm expecting to see both of those top 3, or top 6, I'm sorry.
Without a doubt, Kumbhakarna, Medusa, two of the best picks remaining on the board. I think Kumbhakarna is the one that you have to go to. But Kappa Corporation electing to take this Medusa, and one of the things that we've seen time and time again since Medusa's gotten buffed, since her items have become good, as Osiris is going to be the next pick by the King's Court here, is Medusa just does damage. You can build her AA, you can build her ability. I've even seen people make hybridizing her damage work in their favor. She just does that much.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Medusa is one of the few people who can deal with the Cthulhu. Ironically, as I was saying, it's hard to deal with him at all. Medusa is just exceptionally strong, and it's even harder to deal with her in lane. She wins just about any 1v1 that she gets in this current meta, and really, she can be thrown into either mid or into that ADC lane. So that's not necessarily going to be over there in that dual lane. So we're going to just have to wait and see where that goes. With this Chang'e getting locked in, it is more than likely going to be Chang'e mid and that Medusa over in the duo lane. But we will just have to wait and see if Kappa Corporation is going to pull weird things on us, because this is the semifinals. If you have any hidden strategies, now's the time to pull it out.
You know, Raptor, I'm rather surprised that one of the things we're not seeing here is that Kumbhakarna. The Kumbhakarna pick, as already pointed out, it's so incredibly strong, but so is Fafnir, and of course, got to talk about the elephant in the room when you're talking about supports. Ganesh has shown time and time again, he's just one of the best supports in the game in any single meta that you play him. he just does that much. The silence can keep people from really being able to engage or disengage from fights. His stun can make sure that someone who is set up, it just sets people up to die. His ult shreds procs, does huge damage, gives a slow, and if you're able to stop somebody on that line, good luck to that person to just stay alive. They're going to need luck and any bit of skill they can muster, as Bakasura, Yu Huang, Thor, and Awelish are all banned out. And I gotta admit, Thor is a bit of a weird ban when you already have the Ganesh that counters it out so well, as Agni is picked up by the King's Court, and Wukong is being hovered by Kappa Corporation. Keep in mind, Wukong, and we don't know their last pick yet, they don't have a hover there, but Discordia going to be the pickup, and that has to be Shanghai Jungle.
There's no doubt about it. The Wukong game locked in as well. That is absolutely going to be Waddle XP on that Chang'e jungle. Honestly, knowing who was in the jungle, I should have suspected this, but I didn't. So shout out to you, Waddle XP. Well done on gaslighting all of us. I don't know how I feel about it though. Chang'e is, in my opinion, well, I shouldn't even say in my opinion, objectively one of the best mages in the game right now. She does so much damage, is so hard to lock down, but that's as a mid laner. That's with Conduit in your build. More than likely, we're going to be seeing this Chang'e go into the Boomba's Dagger, and more than likely the Boomba's Spear. That will nerf her damage a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see what this Chang'e can do out of the jungle, when she's normally a pretty oppressive mid laner to go against right now. Discordia, though, is no slouch at all. I don't hate the pick, but I am curious to see how it does.
Hercules is going to be the final pickup for the King's Court as we get a look at both of these two comps. Personally, I favor the King's Court's comp here with the Osiris jungle, Hercules solo, Ganesh support on her Agni as their backliners into the Medusa Discordia backline with the Fafnir, Wukong, tank set, and Shanghai out of the jungle. I'm very interested to see how this goes down. And to your point on Shanghai's clear with Conduit versus Boomba's Dagger and the damage output and the difference that's going to make, I feel like you actually could go Conduit Gem in the jungle on something with as high output as this Shanghai does. Not to mention, of course, the Shanghai passive making her move faster whenever she's using one of her abilities, and suddenly she still goes through the jungle rather quickly and has the damage to back it up.
You could go Conduit, but I would not personally recommend it because Boomba's Dagger, the 10% cooldown is always going to be nice for her once she upgrades that to either the hammer or the spear. You could really go either way with her. I prefer the spear personally. But also, you need some sort of sustain in the jungle. You are getting hit by those camps constantly, and the mana and health sustain that the Boomba's Dagger will give you compared to the Conduit Gem, which gives you nada of either. I think that the Boomba's Dagger is definitely going to be the way to go, but we could see the Conduit Gem come out. To your point, though, I do really like this Kappa Corporation draft. Now, that said, the King's Courts, I have questions about the jungle in there as well. We're going to be seeing the Osiris jungle come out. That's not something that we see often at all. It's the battle of the weird jungles. I told you going into this, when you asked me what we're going to see, I told you we're going to see some meta, some weird. We're seeing exactly that here. I think that this game is going to come completely down to which jungler is going to fall behind the least, because these two, how do I say this in the nicest way? These two are not the best early game junglers. The Osiris will want to get at least an item and a half online before he actually wants to fight, because he's just going to be too squishy. And then the Chang'e is a Chang'e. She deals out really good damage early on, but she has no kill potential until she gets what I assume is going to be a Doom Orb in that first item slot finish. So it's really going to be up to these junglers and who can not fall behind between them. and I think that is actually going to be the big factor in who wins this game.
Personally speaking, if this game goes late, I want to give it to Kappa Corporation, but if this game ends within 20 to 25 minutes, I think I see this going the King's Court's way. Hercules, one of the better solo laners in terms of being able to bully his opponent. Not to mention, of course, the fact that Wukong wants to play back, play safe, and play on an island. One of the things that I'm going to look for as we get into game number 1 is how these two teams really manage that early game, and really how this Fafnir manages the early game over in dual lane. Fafnir, not well known for his clear, because he doesn't really have any, is really going to struggle even with Medusa as his lane partner. It's just not very good clear. This Fafnir is going to have a lot of trouble dealing with the early game, but if he can get to level 5, it's all uphill from there. That's really where I think this kind of comes into play.
Well, you say that, but what I'm expecting to see is a lot of poke and a lot of scrapping over there in the duo lane. You know who that favors? That favors the Kappa Corporation, because if this Medusa can get that Discordia passive on her and hold it, oh boy, that Medusa is going to have all the lane pressure, whether Fafnir wants to help or not. Now, granted, she is going against an On Her and a Ganesh, who just ooze pressure themselves, but I mean, you can see this already. First wave, and they have all the wave control here.
Yeah, that's one thing Medusa brings in spades right now, is that wave control. What with the, I think it's called Acid Spit, I want to say?
Correct. That's correct.
But what with the Acid Spit, one of the best wave clear options in the game, you really got to hand it to these Medusa players when they're able to really work it around and hit people outside of the wave as well. As we do see a little bit of fighting with this Osiris wanting to get a stun onto Waddle, not able to, never mind, Waddle not able to quite get away from that, will get stunned out. But in the end, Rampior is going to be the one taking more damage here, and is looks like he's going to have to back to base. Might be setting a bit of a trap for Waddle, though.
It looks like he wants to, but nothing's really going to come out of it. If anything, Waddle's going to get a bit more pressure and poke. A nice stun there from Rumo, but nothing more really coming from it. King Balrus, though,
Balrus, on the other hand, not going to fall to the Bluestone ticks, able to stay alive thanks to the output of those healing potions. And, of course, the HP 5 off of that green belt around his waist. Not quite going to fall for the first one.
Oh, no, Rumo.
But Waddle XP going after Rumo. Rumo may have stepped a bit too far up. 2 different stuns, though, between Rumo and Rampior. Able to save the life of this Agni in the mid lane. Kappa Corporation close on 2 different fronts, but no cigar quite yet.
Yeah, that could have very easily been a kill. Unfortunately, Evil Eyes used his 2 on the wave.
A1's looking for it. He wants the knock-up, but is going to have to settle for the meteor here. I know, such a hard thing to want to take right now.
Oh no, as a former solo, granted, I haven't played solo within the meteor era, but as a solo laner, you will take the poke and just leave, get anything that you can. He is not upset about that at all, as we seem to have a bit of a buff trade over here in duo lane. Purple buff secured by the Kappa Corporation. Now they're going to go try and save their own, and this could end up being a fight.
They're not going to be able to save it, but Balrus and Bluestar, they're going to be in a lot of trouble here. Rampior is in the area. That should be a kill if they can chase it down. Bojangle trying to run away, and the disarm is going to be enough, but Bluestar,
huge
with an accurate spear throw, going to be able to find the kill. Bombi able to find Bluestar in the back end, thanks to some help from his own jungle in mid lane coming through. Evil Eye is going to be there to find Rampior. Evil Eye is going to find the Agni. Balrus trying to run away, but I don't know if he'll be able to get away.
Oh no.
Hawk's not going to be able to find his mark. Strife not quite there. The damage is not quite there. And Balrus will make his way out. But that is still a 2 for 1 trade. 2, 3.
No, that was a 3-for-1
There were 4
trade.
there.
Yes, that was a 4v4 there at the purple buff 4 minutes in. Your eyes do not deceive you, dear viewers. I cannot believe Walrus survived there. The missed Strife, man. That is the second time a Strife would have ended in a free kill. Evil Eyes, he's a fantastic player in his own right. He does not miss many abilities. Seems to just be having an off day on this Discordia so far. This game would already be out of hand if he had hit that Strife. That very lucky there for the King's Court. Now they get the Bull Demon and are able to stay in this game just a little bit more. I'm only down by 500 4 minutes in. But still, this is already having shades of the Kappa Corporation just threatening to run away with this.
So if you look at the kill count, yeah, they're threatening to run away with it, but right now Kappa Corporation's only 500 gold ahead. And in 5 minutes, you would want to be further ahead. Waddle looking for it, not able to find it. And that is going to be Shanga's ultimate for nothing, but whoa, was that close.
So, here's a fun fact for the people who may not know how to play Chang'e and are wanting to learn and are watching this game hoping to see some tech. I'll give you a little bit of tech right now because I love Chang'e. She's one of my favorite mages. If you are going to use your 3-1 combo, which is her most basic combo, use the 3 first because then the Crescent Moon comes out quicker. The Crescent Moon comes out quicker than the 3 would the other way around. We just saw it right there. It very well might have dropped a kill by going the Crescent Moon and then the Petal Dance. If he went Petal Dance and then Crescent Moon, both abilities would have hit, and that very well might have been another kill. Instead, Rumo able to live another day. And man, Waddle XP has that Cursed Orb online, is already trying to get active. I was thinking he might wait till the Doom Orb is finished, but no, he's just going straight in with that tier 2 item.
Osiris building the Equinox on the other side, a lot of backstab damage, almost like having a Loki instead of an Osiris, but Walrus going to be taking a lot of damage. The cage is down. Bambi going into the ult of his own. Is the dragon enough? Yes, it is. Bambi going to find Walrus on the back end. And now Blue Star plus Rampalore look for a kill. Bambi looking for a way out. And will find it. The up down from Rampalore might not have been the right decision in the back end. Rumo going to find the gray screen. Thanks to the help of Waddle XP. As it is a 2-for-1 trade this time. And Dual Lane seems to be the home of the action.
Yeah, the Medusa ain't having the most fun, but she is top of the player damage. She does have that Discordia passive, which is extremely, extremely important, as I was saying. But man, look at the rest of the team. You look at the mid 3v3. You got 1-0-3, 2-0-1, 2-0-2. This mid 3v3 is getting active even before the mid 3v3 starts, and it looks like
looking for Blue Star. Blue Star incredibly unhealthy. And Pojangle going to find that kill. And Kappa Corporation is just on a tear right now. Pojangle, you know he doesn't like seeing the 0 in his kill department. Doesn't have to look at it anymore.
Absolutely not. And now Kappa Corporation, they have the better late game team in my opinion. I mean, you look at Agni and On Her, they like to be a bit of ahead. If they fall a bit behind, it's harder to play them in these team fights. If you look at the Osiris, yeah, I said that he takes a little bit to get online, but once he gets online, he really wants to make sure that he has a lead and keeps it. Hercules, it was a Hercules. It doesn't really matter what happens in the laning phase. He's going to do Herc things later on. But my point still stands. The King's Court, they really want to be an active team who gets going early. And so far, the Kappa Corporation, who is the better late game team, has the better scaling team. They have really done a good job of not only mitigating what the King's Court want to do, but completely flipping on his head. And now they're the ones with a nearly 1k gold lead and 4 kills to boot.
For sure. I mean, if you're the King's Court, you want to be the team calling the shots. That's exactly what you drafted this setup to do. You're trying to call the shots. You're trying to dictate the pace of this game. And so far, it's actually Kappa Corporation doing that. But in mid, Evil Eyes Going to have to try and get away. He's in the box right now. Going to be rather safe. Ganesha ult going to fall away now. So you've got a 3-on-3 now, though, in mid. Waddle XP caught out by the stun ult combo of this Agni. But that's now a 4-on-3.
Waxy Moon!
They're all here! And that is a multi-man stun from the Shangha! A double kill for Evil Eyes! Make that 3 kills to Kappa Corporation as Waddle XP going to find the 3rd. And now that is going to be an XP camp and should be a BDK in a matter of moments to the Kappa Corps.
And this is why I said I should have known as soon as I saw Waddle XP was the jungler for the Kappa Corporation. He has been playing this pick since Chang'e Jungle was an actual legit thing. Now, even though it has fallen off, even though Chang'e has found her footing more so in the mid lane, Waddle XP is showing the value that not only this pick has, but the value he has on this pick. Coming up 2-0-5, a 3-man Waxing Moon stun there, and this is scary if you're the King's Court. You have to find a way to shut down all 3 members of this mid 3v3. The Fafnir, the Discordia, and the Chang'e. They are all worth a lot of gold right now. You have to find a way to shut them down, but they have such big leads. 2 levels in jungle, 2 levels, okay, 1 level in support, and 1 level in mid. You have to find a way to shut them down, and it's only going to get harder from here.
As a support myself, there isn't a lot you're worried about when it comes to the level differential between you and the other support. You're actually worried about the difference between your level and whoever it is you're trying to go on. And right now, that is a 3 and a 2 level difference. He just takes so much damage. This elephant takes so much damage from anybody he's trying to engage on right now, and trying to set up for his team is just really difficult. Now, thankfully, he's a Ganesha. And what that means is he can just ult somebody if that's what it comes down to. But that doesn't mean that's what you want to do.
You can ult someone, yeah, but Fafnir can say the same thing. If you look at the team that Kappa Corporation has, I'd say that the Draconic Transformation is more valuable than the Dharmic Pillars. I think that what the Kappa Corporation's draft is just perfect for what they wanted to do, and they have played around its strengths perfectly. Now, can they keep that up, or do the King's Court have an answer? And that answer right now is just shutting down the people who are standing in your way, and that is this Chang'e and Discordia especially.
That should be the Chang'e and Discordia, but Bambi is going to be the one caught out here. The silence not going to find its mark in time, and Bambi going to be able to get away. Not going to fall prey this time.
Not going to fall prey, but the beacon is up. A1 has made the rotation. This should be a pretty free beacon for the King's Court, but you never know what the Kappa Corporation could do. Pluck and dash in onto Bambi, and he uses the ult.
Draconic Transformation has been used. Bambi getting chased away by the entirety of the King's Court, who are going to take the beacon here. The stun is going to be good to make sure that Evil Eyes is safe. Not going to be able to dash Evil Eyes in to the waiting clutches of the King's Court is A1, and a disengage has been called by Kappa Corporation and the King's Court mutually, it seems. No more fighting over a already completed objective, especially with Blue Star over here farming it up.
Farmia back on level with this Medusa. Now this Ebola Demon should go down in favor of the King's Court, and it does. Nice zoning there from A1. That was never in doubt. And, I mean, this lead is now up to 1.5K for the Kappa Corporation. King's Court, they've done a good job to stem the bleeding thus far, getting a couple objectives, getting that beacon, getting that BDK, but now with the big boys on the map, with that Pyromancer and with that Gold Fury 2 minutes away from the Fire Giant, they can't just settle for these smaller objectives anymore. They have to not only be careful of the Kappa Corporation getting those, but they also have to be a threat on those as well, as Blue Star forced to use the beats.
Blue Star forced to use the beast to avoid the stun, but takes a lot of damage in doing so. The ult expended as well, but not going to find a kill. Pojangle running him around the rock currently, but Valrus is in the area, but Bambi is in the area as well. That's a 3-on-2 currently. Blue Star leaps into the strife, and Evil Eyes will find a kill. Valorous and Rumo forced to walk away, unable to fight into what would be a 3-on-2, especially make that 4-on-2, especially not those 4.
That's exactly what they shouldn't do. I just said, come on, King's Court, I know you're watching this. No, they're not really, but they're not cheaters. But I just said they cannot be giving up these big objectives. They not only need to keep the Kappa Corporation from threatening them, but they need to be able to threaten them themselves. Yes, they trade out the Pyromancer for the Gold Fury, but at this point in the game, the Pyromancer is only good if you have a lead. The Gold Fury just extended the lead for the Kappa Corporation. It is up to over 2K now. This is... the King's Court are doing the bare minimum, but the bare minimum is not enough. Blue Star just can't jump in like that. He needs to play a bit safer because it was very obvious that the Gold Fury was the target there for the Kappa Corporation, and that's why that whole fight started.
So something to bring up here is the idea of you can only really use the Pyromancer if you're ahead. Sometimes, while that is generally true, as Blue Star looking for a surprise kill onto Pojangle, not quite going to find that. Puts the pillar in his own way, and both ultimates going to be expanded. Pojangle losing the 1v1, it will indeed fall! Blue Star able to take on the Medusa and finds the kill.
Fantastic play there from Blue Star. And you are right. I did misspeak a little. What I actually mean is that the Pyro... Ooh, Waddle XP. Bit of poke, but he'll be just fine. What I actually meant is that the Pyromancer is most useful when you are ahead, when you can siege. Now, there are uses for when you're behind. A, keeping it out of the Kappa Corporation's hands is always a good thing. But B, using it to be able to steal or secure objectives like the Gold Fury or Fire Giant will always be valuable. So there is value to getting that Pyromancer, but at the same time, when you are behind, getting more gold is more valuable in my personal opinion. And when they are this far behind, I think that they need to be fighting for that Gold Fury rather than just trying to trade out.
Pojangle looking
for
the
nice
stun,
pillar.
Not able to find it. Beautiful pillar by Blue Star keeps him from getting stunned. And Pojangle is put down a peg yet again. Bonehead and A1 gonna duke it out a little bit in the solo lane, but what a play by On Her. What a pillar.
That's an interaction I always knew could happen, but never actually seen happen. So thank you very much, Blue Star. I can mark that off my bingo card finally. That was insane. Fantastic awareness there from Blue Star, and you can see just how much of a comfort pick this On Her really is. Now a fight around this beacon. It is going to be a 3-on-3 right now. ADC's appearing to possibly make a rotation in. Bambi's the only one in the pit, though, for the Kappa Corporation.
Bambi with the Draconic transformation goes into the dragon form, gets the stun on Balrus, and the disarm on 2. Beautiful strike, able to make Blue Star and Balrus target each other for quite a bit of damage. A1 in the mix, looking for anything, really, and a multi-man stun from both teams. Beautiful stripe out of the Discordia. The King's Court, they might be looking to disengage here, and they should be. Kappa Corporation, they lose the beacon and looks like lose any chance at kills here. Bambi looking to get back in there. Should be dissuaded pretty well, as A1 is looking around at what Bonehead and Pojangle are doing, but might be caught out a little bit here. Good damage put into this Hercules. Great damage, and Evil Eye is going to pick up the kill. Hercules stepped out of position and was put in his place.
And that's just going to be a free Gold Fury. It looks like it's going to be yet another trade, Gold Fury for Pyromancer. That just A1 just stepped up a little bit too far No ADC this time on this Pyromancer. It's not going to be burning as quickly. Could maybe Wall XP get over here in time. Does have the blink. Not going to use it, though. And it's just going to be a little late. I'm a little surprised by it. That. Not going to lie. I 100% expected Wild XP to go into that, to blink into that pit and to go for the steal with how aggressive he has been playing this game. But once again, the Kappa Corporation, fantastic fight there. And it was looking so good at the beginning for the King's Court. They got the beacon, they won the fight. Yes, no one fell. It was a none for none. But it was still a fantastic fight for the King's Court. They got exactly what they wanted. But the Kappa Corporation, they stayed together and rotated to that Gold Fury and caught A1 just a little bit unaware. And because of that, they got the free Gold Fury, able to extend this lead. And this is a fantastic spot to be in if you are the Kappa Corporation. But the game is not over yet. The King's Court, they are still very much in this game, and they've shown that they can win fights. They just need to be a bit more careful with their positioning and stick together like the Kappa Corporation have, and they could have a very good chance of taking this game.
Kappa Corporation have done a very good job getting picks, and, I mean, even winning early fights. But the King's Court have a very strong roster as well. And as pointed out, granted, this is going to go past 25 now, so I do favor Kappa Corporation's draft overall, as Bambi gets trapped, has to go into the Draconic Transformation to immune some CC and damage here, but
great!
There's a multi-man stun from the Medusa's Petrifying Gaze, and Balor's barely able to make it out, but Bambi won't survive! Normal Rampior, though, that's a 1-for-1. You'll always trade your support for the jungler, though, and that is a winning trade so far, but never mind! The Hercules out of left field as A1 finds a beautiful excavate for another kill to the King's Court, but pulled back is Pojangle, but not quite going to fall, but Evelize might fall here. A lot of damage by the tower. Strife is good to keep him in place, and this Hercules is suddenly at half HP looking for more. Pojangle going to get stunned into a wall. Blue Star finds the kill, and now this fight, it keeps going. They keep pouring it on, but that might be all that there is in the tank. We cannot quite see just yet. Evelize in the back of tower, and the King's Court, they should be backing off. Kappa Corporation trying to keep them here, but the King's Court, they figure it out, and they back away.
Why did Mr. Pojangle not use beats there? Did they just? Oh wow! Oh no! Blue Star falling extremely low, going to be just fine. Oh no, the great golden apple going to be able to pick it up
through the posts to find the kill. And Rumo now being looked at by the Draconic, the transformed Fafnir. And now it's the King's Court trying to defend their tower. Waddle has to use the ultimate to get away to peel, but it's not. It is enough, thanks to this Fafnir. And a beautiful Petrifying Gaze yet again. This fight never ends.
King's Court
A1 going to find the gray screen again, and Bambi will fall. Kappa Corporation trying to push it forward. They are 5. They are strong, and they want this tower.
But I have found the biggest weakness of the King's Court and what they need to improve immediately. They need to stop. They stay around way too long. Way too long, especially against a team with a Chang'e and a Fafnir. There is no reason for that fight to keep going. You won the fight. Back off, reset, and prepare for this beacon. Instead, you're going to lose the Oni Fury. The beacon is now contested, and you're going to be down numbers with 2 ultimates still available for the Kappa Corporation. Now, luckily for the King's Court, it looks like the Kappa Corporation aren't super interested in that beacon, interestingly enough. That should get them that mid-tier 2, tier 1 tower, and give them a bit more gold in their pocket. But, man, the King's Court, there was absolutely no reason for them to keep fighting there. There was no reason for them to stay up there and keep fighting. But instead, they stuck around. They tried to force a fight against the Chang'e Fafnir team. And because of that, They lost miserably, lost the Oni Fury, and yeah, you get the beacon, you get the Pyromancer, but that's the trade you've been taking all game, and it hasn't been working out for you. You haven't been gaining any map state with it.
So the idea behind the Pyromancer and the Pyro Bomb as a whole is the value of that objective is the golden XP it gives you up front, plus whatever value you get out of the bomb. The King's Court have not made those trades worthwhile because they haven't gotten anything out of their bombs. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. Fire Giant not going to be looked at, just dewarding his Bambi. But the positioning around this from the Kappa Corporation indicates that they do want to try and go for this, see what they can do. Blue Star just backed. It looks like
we have a pause out. So one of the things that is very much worth bringing up so far is the play out of the entirety of Kappa Corporation. Just they seem to know where everybody on their team is at all times. Yes, I know they have a map telling them that. But in regards to that, some people still play like they have no idea where any of the other 9 players are on the map at any given time. So, excuse me if I take the map with a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you look at the score lines, 0-6 on Bonehead, I'm sorry. And then Evil Eye sitting at 7-0-3 on this Discordia. The King's Court need to get onto this Discordia. She is just free casting constantly. And granted, they have attempted it, but in their attempts, they fall just short, and Evil Eyes is able to survive. And because of that, the Golden Apple of Discord, the strifes, this is just too much. And Evil Eyes has really been able to turn these fights because of how long he survives and how much damage he is able to pump out. So if I'm A1, if I'm Rampior, I say screw the Medusa, screw Mr. Pojangle. You have been handling him extremely well so far. Bring down Evil Eyes as quickly as possible, and your team fights will go significantly better. But that's easier said than done, as we have seen so far this game.
I think that's absolutely what they've been trying to do. I mean, you see it time and time and time again. This Hercules, this Osiris, keeps diving at this Discordia, but the peel offered by a Ganesh is second only to a select few gods. Ganesh, one of the best peel tanks in the game. And even then, my apologies, Ganesh isn't even the right one to talk about. It's this Fafnir, who's been using his stuns beautifully to peel for his teammates. Something that's very, very difficult to do. Not to mention Osiris, highly reliant on his in-hand damage, gets completely shut down whenever Fafnir presses 3.
Oh no, he really does, and that's why I really like this Fafnir. And another reason why I say that the Draconic transformation from Bambi is more valuable to Kappa Corporation than the Dharmic Pillars is to King's Court. Because, yes, it's very nice for King Balrus to drop those pillars down and just completely lock in any member of the Kappa Corporation that he wants, but the Agni and the Anhur, they're not getting close enough to the backline to make that worthwhile. So either that Dharmic Pillar needs to be dropped on Bonehead and Wall XP when they go in, or they need to start positioning Rumo and Blue Star a bit farther forward, but that also puts them in danger of Evil Eyes and Mr. Pojangle. So it's a little bit of a balancing act that they have to do. Meanwhile, Bambi, he just presses forward, turns into a big dragon, and just plays the game exactly like he was before, just even stronger. So the Bambi, the Fafnir is working out phenomenally for the Kappa Corporation. It's up to the King's Court to find an answer for it. And I think that the answer does lie in King Balrus, just needs to adjust where his targets are.
The answer to the Kappa Corporation lies partly with Balrus. I think as a team, what they need to start doing, they're trying to play the game back to front, right? They're trying to take out this Discordia and the Medusa first, because those are the 2 power players. But they're not being allowed to get there. So you have to adjust and you have to start playing front to back. You have to go through these 2 tanks. You have to go through this Chang'e, and then you can deal with the Medusa and the Discordia. That's really what needs to be going on here. That's the adjustment I feel like the King's Court have got to make. Kappa Corporation, they want this fire giant. They're posted up around it.
And no wards on this side from the King's Court. Fantastic ward control. That's the word I was looking for. I know English. Don't worry. Ward control from the Kappa Corporation. King's Court, they have no idea what's going on over here. They don't know where a single member is from the Kappa Corporation. And that is exactly what the Kappa Corporation wants. Despite how good of a team fight comp they have, they also have a very good pick comp. It only takes one hammer or one waxing moon to completely put someone out of position and just drop them into the gray screen for 30 to 40 seconds. So King's Court, they have to be extremely careful, finally able to step up and get some of these wards down.
King's Court, now they are the ones with control over the pit. Rampior, not a lot of damage here, but a lot of health and tank stats to keep him alive. So yeah, the King's Court definitely need to try and play this one front to back rather than back to front. When you have 3 tanks, why not run it through their tanks? Rampior, however, not feeling very tanky right now, as his health gets absolutely deleted. Half his health bar gone in an instant. Kappa Corporation looking to fight their way into this fire giant pit. As Bonehead also takes quite a bit of damage himself, something I didn't notice in the initial engagement there. A1 looking at not even a potential steal anymore, just looking to get some poke down. Able to find Bonehead and then dash back toward his team. Honestly, I don't mind a miss like that out of your solo laner, because it's like, okay, I could dash to where I think he's going, but that's a lot less safe. I'm going to just dash to my team, whether it hits him or not.
Ward control finally back in the favor of the King's Court. And now, Kappa Corporation, they've already put down all their wards. They don't have any more to place down. So vision control is going to favor the King's Court for quite some time. And that is absolutely huge as the fight begins.
Pojangle having to dash through the walls of that cage. Misses the ult onto Rampior as a whole. And Pojangle going to pay in blood for that miss. Rampior chasing down Evelize, and that's both the backliners down. King's Court find both damage dealers of Kappa Corporation, and they find the dragon. The silence kept him in place for a moment as he flailed around in the air, able to finally get away. And Bonehead, Waddle, Bambi, the 3 of them having to try and chase people down. A1 stunned out twice, and Bambi trying to help his team fight their way back in. Bonehead and Waddle chasing on different sides. Waddle taken to Pound Town for a moment. The Fire Giant low. King's Court, they'll take the Fire Giant. The silence is good. Bonehead trying to make his way out. And the Ox form going to make sure he does. Blue Star trying to get in, but A1 will find Waddle in the back. And Bonehead is just trying to get away. But I don't think he'll quite get there. Balrus with the slow off of Pridwin. And A1 going to town in that right-hand lane. Finds another kill. Evelize, Pojangle, they're back up in the gray screen in a desperate do-or-die situation for the Kappa Corporation. As there is an exposed bird that the King's Court are looking at while they have the numbers advantage. Kappa Corporation, they're defending, but this is a 5-on-4 with help from the bird. And that is a lot of damage put up by Evelize. A1 going to fall here. Pojangle credited that kill.
They're not going to get it.
Multi-man stun. That is a beautiful ult out of this Medusa. Great damage. And that is all 3 members low. Blue Star jumping away. But Pojangle not able to find the kill. Massive miss. Evelize trying to find the damage through the wall. Unable to find that either. And Pojangle just trying to get anything else for their efforts. Will not be able to find any more kills. King's Court denied the right-hand bird.
I was just about to compliment the King's Court, saying that is exactly the fight that they needed around that Fire Giant. But then Kappa Corporation with the beautiful defense. It is so hard to siege on a Discordia, Medusa backline. It doesn't matter who you have on your team. Those two just can pump out so much damage. Bonehead really, really making it hard for anyone to step up in that backline of the King's Court. And now, Primal Fury could be the target here. Blue Star is here, though, and does have that Desert Fury. This is not free.
Desert Fury definitely keeps us from being free. That is a lot of possible damage output by the on her. King's Court will get it, though, off of a bomb from Rumo. Bojangles going to fall.
Beautiful
but Blue Star falls. Waddle finds the kill on Blue Star. The apple, great for keeping him there. Bambi going to fall. That is 2 for 1. King's Court drop Blue Star and take a Gold Fury in order to get Pojangle and Bambi. And while you don't like dropping your Hunter, that feels like it is a worthwhile trade for the court.
Absolutely. 2 kills and the Gold Fury? That is 100% worth it. Blue Star is screaming worth. I don't think he stole it. I think it was the bomb from Rumo that ended up getting the last hit, but man, King's Court, this is a completely different team from what we saw early on in the game. Early in the game, they were sticking around in fights too long. They didn't seem like they were together. They found their mojo. They found their moxie in this.
Ace created by A1. A1 trying to get out. The stuns are good. Waddle XP going to find the kill. Ramp trying to get out. Rumo trying to cover. Balrus trying to cover the two of them. Waddle XP going to show them the door. Can't really do anything else, so you're not going to chase that.
Yeah, you are really not. And King's Court, something that I'm noticing is that they are having a very, very, very hard time sieging. And you can chalk that up 100% to Bonehead, the 0010 Wukong. Aside from looking at a scoreline, just watching the game, you can tell this man is practically unkillable at this point. Blue Star doesn't seem like he's doing any damage to him, neither does Rumo, which is surprising considering just how much pen. Actually, no, Rumo does not have all that much pen, only 10% in, and then a little bit of flat. So, really, Rumo is not going to be taking down this Sun Wukong very quickly at all.
10% pen? That's 20%, sir.
Now, what's the... Hold on.
Mirrodin. Staff of Mirrodin.
Oh, I didn't... Okay, I forgot that gave pen. That's my mistake. I legitimately forgot Staff of Mirrodin gave pen.
Now, in all fairness, you're still correct. Rumo's not going to be the one targeting tanks or doing damage to the frontliners of Kappa Corporation. But I just figured I'd point that one out.
Well, that still doesn't... You are correct. That still doesn't change my statement that Rumo really isn't going to be doing anything to this Wukong. So I mean, you can see it.
That crowd control might actually be doing a lot, though, as that is 5 members of the King's Court all converging on the face of Bonehead, who I have to feels like his name right now. It feels very boneheaded.
That's his first death, and it very well might cost his team an EFG. Now, it is a 5v4 around here. EFG down to 50% health, and the steal is still very much an option. Blink in from A1.
Evil Eyes in the area. Excavate plus Pridwin gets a kill there. And A1 looking for another mid King's Court. They'll take the Fire Giant, but now they got to get out. Pojangle will find Rapior and kill him off. Waddle XP getting run down by A1. And the dash connects. The dash is good. Draconic transformation out of Bambi already. Pojangle going to completely leave his support, but getting boxed in. Able to dash away from A1 and make him miss. Bambi going to become the target of the King's Court as a 4-man army decimates this dragon. Kappa Corporation, they're looking to defend this Titan. I don't know if they can. Titan burning rapidly. There's so much damage being put on this Titan, and only so much that Pojangle can do. A1 going to pick up the kill, and the King's Court will pick up game number 1.
Fantastic play there and a fantastic turnaround by the King's Court. I was talking pretty down on them the entire game. And you know what? They have my sincerest apologies well done out there by the members of the King's Court. I think it really came down to A1. A1 created so much space with just his presence. How much damage he was able to put out is absolutely insane. And shout out to the King's Court, man. I thought for sure with how that game started that they were going to be really far behind, that they were never going to climb out. But this is why you never say die. This is why you never back out, and this is why you don't listen to the haters like me. King's Court, the 4 seed, puts up a game on the number 1 seed, and they're on match point already to go to the finals.
Match point to go to the finals is one thing, but for another, you love the resiliency of teams when they pull something like this. Always phenomenal to see a team come back from a disastrous early game. That one wasn't completely disastrous, right? I mean, at one point it was 14-5 in the kill column, but it was never over a 2.53K deficit, right? Very, very well sustained by this King's Court team, and I gotta hand it to them. They took a matchup that, in all other respects, they should have lost. Once that timer got beyond 25 minutes, they should have been done. They should have lost. Kappa Corporation should have had them just based on draft alone. But they did not let it die, and they get the win in game 1. But in order to see game 2, we're going to coast on into a break, and we'll catch you on the other side. welcome to game number 2 of this set that is already shown some fireworks. Mechanix Cadicius here with Red Sniper and Raptor, now purely in production, as we kick it straight into the picks and bans here for game number 2. Red Sniper, one thing to point out, in game number 1, the King's Court had a draft that looked like it should fall apart in the late game to the Kappa Corporation squad, but the King's Court were able to pull through and punch them square in the jaw to take game number 1.
Well, if nothing else, and I even said this on the broadcast last night about the Shallows division, something we can always depend upon with King's Court as even an organization is that they are methodical as players. It's something that Cooter, in his vetting process for captains, does. He picks people that are going to bring this methodical style out, and they don't give up. It looks like it might not work. It looks like it might all fall apart. Doesn't matter. They are going to attempt to bring things slowly back into their favor, and then when that advantage comes, they press that advantage. We saw it last night in Shallows. We saw it already in game number 1 here, as we do see in picks and bans here. It looks like the standard bans, the strong ones are going to go out. Nuwa, Lancelot, Camazotz, Cthulhu, and well, there you go. The disco that was such a thorn in the side going away for game number 2 here.
I would say the same thing with the Ganesh ban from Kappa Corporation, a respect ban against King Valorous, as Cerberus going to be the top pick out of Kappa Corporation, the best boy himself. And one of the best things about Cerberus is the way he generates pressure is if he exists by you, you just don't heal.
Oh, but look at that follow-up. Chalk and Cucullin. So you're definitely going to see... I'm guessing it's probably Cucullin jungle. That would be my guess. I mean, you could see it in support. It'd be a little weird. I'm guessing that's Chalk solo. Chalk is squarely in the solo lane with his ability. We are seeing a Charybdis now, though. So interesting that last game we saw more of this ability-based hunter, which seems to be a little bit closer to meta. Now we have Charybdis, and Charybdis loves to proc with her triple daggers. Hunbat's a very strong team fighting god, now especially being brought out with Kappa Corporation. Haven't seen the standard hybrids, though, as Changa is going to get picked up by King's Court. We did see, however, in a little bit higher level play, so to speak, we do see the hybrid builds coming out a little bit more, something like a hybrid Serket or a hybrid Thor, but looks like Yu Huang going to be taken off the table by King's Court.
Kappa Corporation removing the Medusa from the field, and honestly, this is already a very interesting draft. I love the Cerberus top pick, but I have to question the shot going into it. I already pointed out, Cerberus passive, very, very good into healers. And then you immediately draft a self-healer. So I'm going to have to see this in action and see what the King's Court think that the shock is going to bring to the fray outside of the ult, obviously. That silence is so massive. But
well, I will say, the silence is massive, but remember, they buffed his 3. So now it's not only a slow, it actually takes away the, not attack speed, but attack power. So it actually influences team fights much more than it used to before. Before it was just a chasing tool or a peel tool. Now it's an even more bigger team fight influence, as we do see Anher getting locked in with King's Court. Anher did work last game, so they kind of go back to it on this one. Also, the Thoth, the artillery mage, being taken off the table. Interested to see what Kappa Corporation does with that, if they wanted to pick something a little bit more safe. Again, Giannis not quite in meta, so to speak. Maybe something like, I don't know, maybe something a little safer in the mid lane. I mean, Vulcan could be a pick here, but we'll see what Kappa Corp wants to do.
I'm going to do something a little bit dangerous here and actually agree to disagree with you on the Giannis there, Red. Giannis, I believe, is very, very fine in this meta. The portals are just great for keeping him and his team safe. He does so much damage between, of course, his abilities just hitting really hard and the passive on his ultimate now giving him I believe it's 0. Of course, 0 at rank 0, but 5 scaling to 30. I want to say percent penetration out of that ultimate. It is absolutely crazy. And to your point on the shock, I went ahead and just looked up the actual numbers on Rain Dance right quick. That healing is going to be massive for Cerberus if he can keep on top of shock, but staying on top of shock might not be in the question for him because that is a 40% slow, 10% power reduction, and 25% attack speed reduction on Rain Dance. And if you are one of Charybdis, Hunbots, or Poseidon, you don't want to be caught in the rain.
No, absolutely not. And now we're going to see Bacchus getting hovered here. Bacchus is an interesting pick because he can be very aggressive early in the game and does massive amounts of damage, especially if you build him more hybrid. You've already got a good front line with Cucullin and Chalk there. Bacchus, because of how he can be built, already will be tanky, but can be a little bit more of that aggressive initiator that you need. And when you look at the King's Court lineup, initiation is what you're looking for. You don't really get it with the Chang'e except through her ult. Anhur can leap in, but then it doesn't really allow him much ability to get out of fights in case he gets closed down. Bacchus there with the initiation now for King's Court does allow them a way to start fights rather than just try and close distance. Kappa Corporation, on the other hand, going for a Poseidon in the mid lane. Again, you've got the cripple, you've got a few other tools at your advantage, but again, falls off a little bit towards late game and you kind of become a Kraken alt bot where you just get this knock up over and over again. Does do massive damage. Not gonna knock that, but Fafnir, also a callback from game number 1, was excellent with that pick comp kind of thing, throwing the hammer, getting the disarms. So again, good to see the Fafnir there. So Charybdis, Fafnir in the duo, Hunbats in the jungle, Serb, I'm going to guess, is going solo lane, and Poseidon mid. Let's see how this mid 3v3 kind of operates as well. Bacchus, Chang'e, and a Cucullin with Poseidon, Fafnir, and a Hunbats. Those 3v3 interactions are going to be very interesting towards the mid game here.
You're calling Cucullin jungle?
I am going to call Cucullin jungle. I'm guessing Chalk is probably going to go solo just because Cucullin could clear a little bit faster than the Chalk will. Chalk has those great team fight opportunities and tools there, but he's a little bit more reliant upon the lane and trying to clear lane in an efficient way. Cucullin could do that as well. I've just seen I will say, I've seen more Cucullin jungles than I've seen Chalk jungles, but who knows? With the latest patch, it could go the other way.
I was gonna say I'm gonna decide to be a bit of a betting man here, and I'm gonna put all my chips on the idea that it's Cucullin solo and a jungle here. Something that I agree with you. We hadn't seen in a while. The meta has not been conducive to pulling the shock out of the solo lane. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that goes. And to your point, as far as like the team fight capabilities of these two teams, I love the Kappa Corporation's draft, actually. Cerberus ult and the Hunbots ult and the Poseidon ult with a Fafnir and a Charybdis nearby. That's just so much damage and so much control in such a big area.
Yeah, and let's go into our basic 5v5 team fights, because we saw it a couple of times. We did see King's Court get a little bit more of a pick comp going on in game number 1, but just stacking it up 5v5, let's say they all go around Fire Drain or something like that. If we're looking at front to back, Anhur and Chang'e with this 3-2 front to back kind of team fight here, Bacchus can initiate, Chalk can blink in and initiate, Cucullin can blink in and ultimate for his initiation as well. Now, you're going to be putting all of your eggs in one basket, so it's kind of you have to be willing and coordinated enough to layer that CC appropriately. Bacchus gets the knockup, Cucullin gets the dispersion, Chalk with a silence allows Anhur to jump in and deal damage with that Desert's Fury, and then Chang'e absolutely obliterating everything in front of him. Also, Chunga has a little bit of protection. Remember, her midnight dance there has that immunity to it, so she could immune her way out of something from the Poseidon or from the Hunbats, depending on how things operate. So that being said, we're gonna see how this operates, but I like what the King's Court has, at least with how it operates as a 5v5. Kappa Corporation, though, has a little bit more flexibility, especially with that Hunbats, and then the Hunbats ult on top of it, that can absolutely disrupt a team fight. So, it honestly, I like what's coming to the table from both of them. It's gonna depend on execution and especially coordination between these two.
And if it's going to rely on execution and coordination, I have to hand it to the King's Court. They may not have been that way early, but once it got to the late game stage, once it got to the 5-on-5, they were just so good at tearing apart the Kappa Corporation and what Kappa wanted to do. But in regards to the way these two teams want to play, one of the things I do want to bring up here is you point out that if Onher leaps in, right, then Onher has no way back out. Personally, I don't think Onher is a pick that ever wants to get out. He doesn't necessarily want to use his 3 to get out of a fight, but instead to reposition within the same fight to try and put himself in a better spot to either, impale someone into a wall, maybe a better spot for Desert Fury, or to even just to put the pillar into. And in that regard, the King's Court have drafted a comp of 5 different gods that are all super committal picks. When they go in, and they're in there to stay. On the flip side, Kappa Corporation, they have Charybdis, who is going to whirlpool away. Fafnir, with the single longest leap in the game. Cerberus, who, he'll get in. He's probably going to blink in and 3 out. That 3, not a very good tool in the middle of a fight, except as a repositioning or escape tool. Hunbots is just as likely to blink into your team with, I forget what the ability is, but it's the one where he throws the little monkey out there and he can teleport to the last target it hits. And then of course you've got Poseidon, who's never going to super commit his own body to the fight, even if he's committing his ultimate, the 3, the 1, to these fights. So Kappa Corporation, as you put it, able to be incredibly flexible in these fights. And I think that is going to lean in their favor the longer this game goes. But in order to see that, we're going to have to get into the game. And before we can get into the game, we're going to have to go to a quick break here as we wait and see exactly what's going on between these two teams as they try and get Game 2 going. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to game number 2. Mechanics Kadisi is back on the desk here with Red Sniper as we get ready to see what these two teams are going to bring. Again, on one hand, you had Kappa Corporation. They drafted this really, really flexible team comp centered around this Cerberus, this Hun bots. On the other side, you had this really aggressive, all-in kind of composition centered around the Kukulin, the Shock, and I would have to assume this on her and their ability to just get in there and want to stay there. Red Sniper, as we get into this game, finally, what do you think these two teams are really looking for?
Honestly, if I had to go for it, King's Court is looking for a 5v5 team fight. They want to just use that big snowball. If they can farm effectively in the early game, use that snowball to just go for objectives, push their way into things, get towers methodically, and go for it. Now, the other side of it, Kappa Corporation, they want to try and get picks early so that they can get those 2 and 3 2v2s, 3v3 fights, and kind of work their way around the other team, use that flexibility to their advantage. As we do see a little bit of an impale here and some damage come on to the Fafnir early as we go into game number 2.
Might not have been the right call, though, as Pojangle clearing the wave rapidly. Great stun out of the Bacchus, though. And we see the early aggression coming out of this dual lane. King's Court, they've got their jungler rotating, but Pojangle, he's going to fall. First blood in under a minute. Bambi getting run down, but not quite going to fall here. And a good stun, good damage. But, yet again, Pojangle on the back foot early in mid. Brown Pieter is going to have a hard time at Evil Eyes, going to find a return kill in mid for the kill on his ADC in left. And is that a shock mid? That's shock mid.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. With a Changa jungle, we were complaining about, is this meta, is that meta? I can tell you for one thing for certain from your chair
That's
too.
not
meta. But it seems to be working.
Trying to get away from Bonehead and Waddle, and not going to be able to, as Waddle is going to leap over the Cerberus to get that kill on the Kukulin. And you say it seems to be working. Rampior, I have to point out that very much did not work in mid so far.
Well, I mean, it definitely isn't working on the solo side of things, but at least in mid lane they're kind of holding their own. I'm going to put it that way. But the Changa in the jungle is a little interesting, let's say.
Waddle did just play that last game. I guess Rumo decided, here, Waddle, let me show you how it's done. But no, that is, as Raptor has just put it in our ears, that's one of Waddle's picks. So, in duo, we have a little bit of just some wave clear coming out and a few things going on here. But one of the things that I want to kind of hover in on and really look at is the way this Shock decides to build this game. So far, has Bluestone and tier 1 of what I would assume to be Transcendence. And a very interesting build pathing out of this Kukulin, as he's going to consistently be assisting the Cerberus and staying in lane with the Rejuvenating Talisman. Keep in mind, passively that's going to keep healing this Kukulin for, I believe it's 0.5% of his HP every second. Evelize in the area, not going to be able to get anything, walks over a ward. I don't think he realizes quite yet that that's there. But the King's Court, they're looking for the Bull Demon King. They have the damage in the area and no one around to stop them. Should be able to pick this one up. And here we are as more and more players hit level 5 on both sides. They're still missing level 5s in the dual lane of Kappa Corporation. King's Court, can they take advantage of this? Bacchus leaping in. Can they get the stun? Desert Fury going to be expended, but it will not find a kill. It will find the Naga, however, so it does deny the dual lane of Kappa Corporation farm and keep them under level for the time being. 2 levels down are the dual lane of both of their opponents in this game.
Looking around right now, we're trying to see, again, this is an early game, we're only 4 minutes in. We do have 2 kills on either side, so it's more of a pressure balance right now to see who can gain advantage, and we're going to see if Waddle can be let's see if Waddle can initiate an invade. As we do see King's Court, we do see invades coming from them, especially on the Chang'e already, on the XP buff over on that left-hand side. But I want to see if Waddle is going to be able to respond to that. Again, King's Court, if nothing else, they are very efficient in how they farm, and that, oh boy, that's okay. Ult for ult cancel in the solo lane. That was very well played. Very well played by A1 there.
A1 making sure he doesn't get pushed into tower, but Waddle going to make sure it happens anyway. Beautiful Fear No Evil from the Sun Bots. And A1 going to find the gray screen for the second time this game. But there's a lot of damage out, and Rumo unable to avoid that, had already used the Moonlit Waltz. King Balrus in to try and save his jungler, but not able to do that either in Kappa Corporation. 4 on 2, able to find that. Blue Star on the other side of the map, really forcing Coach Angle to play extra safe in this game. Rampior in the area, not able to, never mind, able to steal it away, and a massive silence. Waddle trying to run away, as Rampior able to find Evil Eyes for the kill. Rampior trying to stay in the area, trying to find another kill here and there. But a Bull Demon King and a kill going the way of the King's Court.
Yeah, that right there does shift the balance of power quite substantially. Over on that side of the map, we do see Kappa Corporation with those picks early. Remember, we were talking much more about the 5v5 and the invade now from Rumo coming in. So, again, we want that 5v5 from King's Court in order for them to gain that advantage. Kappa Corporation says, I don't care what you want. We're going to fight in the jungle. We're going to fight in the lane. We're going to take our small advantages that we have, and we're going to push those small advantages. So Kappa Corporation almost seems like they've woken up since game 1 to say, okay, we now take the King's Court seriously, and we're going to push this into a 3-game set because we need to take this game here. Otherwise, our season's over.
Are you saying they weren't taking the King's Court seriously in game 1? That seems a little troll.
I will say they are, I believe, the 4 seed, and to be honest, the Kappa Corporation has had a let's just say a pretty stellar run in the Puddles division. So they may not have taken them as seriously in game 1, or I'll put it this way: they needed to be a little bit more flexible as to what King's Court was going to bring. And now they are bringing that flexibility with this. Oh
boy!
This,
Here we
oh
go
no!
again.
Caught again.
A1 double ulted for the second time in a row, and going to find the gray screen for the 3rd time this game. Though it's somehow keeping up with the servers. I gotta give them props for that.
Again, if nothing else, King's Court knows how to farm efficiently, as it does go back and forth. I don't quite know who got the Bull Demon on that one. It looks like it was King's Court that got that one. Yeah, 2-1, so it's going to be King's Court on that one. Again, let's see if they can use it to their advantage. Where are they clearing wards? How are they going to use that vision? That buff that comes through for the next minute or two. Again, the efficiency, and I'm going to put it that way, they are methodical, they are efficient. They're not going to be flashy, they're not going to be aggressive, at least it doesn't look like they're going to be aggressive right now. They're kind of biding their time until the mid-late game, until they can get that 5v5 together. Kappa Corporation, on the other hand, has that flexibility, especially we've seen it at a Waddle over here in the solo lane, where, you know, Bonehead gets just... I'll put it this way, has just enough of a leash to bring in A1, and then Waddle shows up to finish him off by pushing him under tower. done it twice in a row, and we've seen that come through. Bonehead. Oh, that might have been a bonehead play. Yes, it was. As Rumo's going to pick up the kill over there in Soul Lane. And again, Kappa Corporation, another, a small issue over there on the right, but it does allow now for A1 to farm uncontested in that Soul Lane and give them that advantage by the Bastion going down.
The Bastion going down, and I mean, if you look at the gold differential in solo, right? That's part of where this Kukulin has really been able to keep things even in solo. Is just he took the Bastion, Cerberus did. That's 200 extra gold that this Kukulin got that the Cerberus doesn't have. Now the Cerberus can get that 200 gold pretty easily, but it's still a 200 gold difference. And at this stage of the game, that is an entire tenth of King's Court's lead, as Blue Star has about a 2.5 level lead on Pojangle, it seems. And Evil Eyes trying to keep Blue Star in the area. Blue Star able to leap away, not able to find anything there as Evil Eyes. And Bambi going to go ahead and walk away as well. They were trying to set a trap for this on her, unable to find the damage or the crowd control for it. A1 trying to keep Bonehead from healing up too much, but Bonehead has a lot more damage than he's ready for. Looking for the stun, looking for some good damage off that Cerberus, able to find it with the one, able to leap in, big damage out of the ultimate. Might be all he needed. The Ghastly Breath going to be enough, and A1 going to be soloed out by the three-headed dog. As Kappa Corporation, they're going to look at the Bull Demon King, but King's Court not going to let him have it for free. That is a 3 on, and Kappa Corporation is going to lose out on the BDK. 3 sets of
No,
Bs
Kappa Corporation picked that one up.
They did pick that one up. I see that on the counter. Waddle XP able to take the kill there. Able to take King Balrus as well. Can he find Rampierre for the kill? Rampierre trying to walk away. The slow, pretty massive, and indeed, Rampierre going to be able to get out. This is going to be able to defend his red buff. I think the answer here is no. Waddle XP going to be able to take the camp away from him, but A1 here to help Rampierre get the kill afterward, and A1 going to get a big shutdown for himself and his team. As Kappa Corporation, they look at this gold fury. They should be able to get it for free, but Blue Star is on the way. They're not burning it quite fast enough. The Kappa Corporation expend everything in a matter of moments to get that. And Bambi nearly caught out. Might be anyway. The stun is beautiful. And Blue Star has no way out and no health bar to do it with. And
that was a beautiful turnaround there by Kappa Corporation. Again, Bambi gets very, very low. He gets that demonic transformation ending just as the pillar comes up, so it's a stun into a root, and it's a self-root in that respect. Damage gets done, he's able to jump away, and just as that happens, he gets collapsed on as both the mid laner and the ADC come over, and Pojangle cleans him up. That is a perfect example of team play, and that's why we are here playing comp rather than ranked.
Help but agree with you on that one. Waddle XP trying to collect some XP right now. Pojangle doing the same over here in left. King's Court looking to deny them that. And this Shang-Na around the corner able to get some good damage on Pojangle. 1-3 combo down. And it does take a chunk out of Pojangle on this Charybdis, but not really going to make him worry too much more than that. Just showing face, making him back away. And, I mean, it looks like King's Court is looking for a fight here. Or at least Kappa Corporation is. I'm not entirely sure at this point. Both teams definitely playing a little bit scrappy here. King's Court, they're going to be able to take that tower on that left-hand side. So that should free up this on her now to move around the map a little bit more and really help out along in other lanes. But they're looking at this Charybdis in left the same way that the Shock was being looked at in mid. And Kappa Corporation, this is a 3-on-3, or 4-on-3, excuse me, but it's split up. Rumo not able to get away! The bead's going to be expended. The crescent moon going to be used. That is a multi-man fear, just like it was a multi-man stun. King Balrus will find Bonehead. But what more can happen? What can the King's Court bring to the table? They've expended so much already. A lot of damage being pumped away. Evelize and A1 gonna find the kill, but Evelize will kill him from the grave with the Whirlpool. Blue Star makes his way to the fight, and Waddle XP will fall as well. A1 traded for Bonehead, Waddle, Evelize, and Bambi. 4 for 1 in the King's Court. Go big!
Again, this is what they were looking for. Kappa Corporation took it thinking it was going to be a little 3v3, 4v4 kind of, little fight over on the side here. And they take that little fight and break it into a 5v5 or a 5v4 as King's Court just collapses onto Kappa Corporation. Now, they did end up surrendering the Tier 1 tower in left for it, but to be honest, I'd take 4 kills over a Tier 1 tower any day of the week, as gold difference expands to about 2,200, XP difference now at 4,800, and that's really going to start telling here in 15 minutes. We are starting to see players, especially on King's Court, hitting that 15 mark, that 17 mark already for Blue Star on that on her. So now we're going to see if King's Court can push some more advantage here. Waddle was caught out. He's been playing very aggressive. He does have 6 kills, but has been caught out a couple of times lately. So he's not able to maneuver as much. And again, Waddle there, he does that great early to mid game damage. It's that late game, he's really there for his ultimate. That Fear No Evil is going to disrupt team fights. He's got to be able to use it at the appropriate time. And again, we said before, King's Court, when they go in, they are going all in. He's got to be able to time it perfectly there. Wasn't able to do so yet, but we'll see if Kappa can rebound from that fight there.
For a moment there, I thought that was Rumo on the speed buff of Kappa Corporation. I was about to call that a really ballsy play, and then I realized, wait a minute. He's on his own speed buff. But you know who's not on his own speed buff? Rampior, who was caught in the middle of a whirlpool there for a moment. That's a lot of damage into that shock. And Shock building very tanky here, actually. Has a Transcendence, but immediately after goes into Shifter Shield and Mantle of Discord. Good stone out from Bonehead too.
Well, Shifters is going to be sort of that standard build for your solo right now, especially with how strong it is. If you drop low into health, it does give you bonus protections, but when your health is up, and I believe it's over 50%, it does give you bonus power. So yes, okay, 75% health. So over 75% health, you gain the power. Under 75% health, you gain protections. So it does give you that flexibility there that Shock needed for that early game. So he gets the Transcendence. He has the mana sustain even without the mana buff. Gets Shifter Shield to have the power to help him clear. As now we're going to have that 5v5. Here we go into the mid lane team fight.
Crescent Moon going to be expended as well. King Balor is going to be the only one caught by Bonehead, but what a pillar by the Sun Her to save the life of Balorus, putting it in the way of the Cerberus ultimate. Bonehead going to be killed off. Rumo going to be credited with the kill. Waddle looking for a Fear No Evil, only finds one. Rumo takes a second, and what a play by the Sun Her to kick it all off.
That was nuts. You thought Kappa Corporation surely had that advantage there. They got the Cerberus ultimate Bonehead, bringing him in, letting his team turn on him. Didn't matter. What ended up happening was King's Court said, "Sure, we'll take this fight, no problem." Ends up getting 2 for 0, and King's Court now evens up the kill count, 11-11. In 18 and a half minutes.
I don't think Kappa Corporation, if they get through this game, are going to let Blue Star have this on her for a third game. Stops Pojangle's Medusa ultimate in game 1, stops a Cerberus ult from actually getting any real value here in game 2. What is this guy? Like, what is this on? This is insane.
I mean, I've seen some weird stuff before, but yeah, on her, I've seen a little bit more and more shift into the meta, but if you know how to play on her well, it's always been one of those picks where you can't go wrong with it. I mean, it's sort of like that Thor pick. If you're a jungler in Smite, you should know how to play Thor. If you are an ADC, you should know how to play on her, just because that ability to operate a god like that is going to translate into other ADCs, into other hunters. So if you pilot on her well, you're going to be able to pilot other gods well as well. So seeing him pilot this on her well, Blue Star definitely has a distinct advantage coming into this one, especially with how the meta is shaping up with abilities right now. We do see he is going into, looks like the Leader's Cowl there. Again, it's a little small on my screen, but it looks like Leader's Cowl, yeah, into, as Evil Eye's going down. Oh, and Pojangle, so there goes the carries.
Rumo able to find 2, but Bonehead going to find Rumo in exchange. This fight ongoing. King Balrus looking for a stun on Bambi, unable to find that. Bambi trying to find his way out, able to get over the wall, thanks to the distance acquirable by the leap of this Fafnir Balrus into the entirety of Kappa Corporation. Leaping in, and what did we bring up? King's Court, they are all in. And now, because they went all in, they're all out A-OK.
And again, 3 for 1 in that fight. That was a well-timed, well-placed. Again, Kappa Corporation looking for that pick. Waddle going in to try and get something started. Didn't matter. King's Court says, fine. You want to jump into us? We will all turn on you. And I will say, something that King's Court has been doing well is target selection. They see that advantage, although Waddle getting close here. Let's see if he steals it.
Waddle, no ultimate. King's Court, they're going to be able to get the Fire Giant. Can they take the fight after? A1 will find Evil Eyes, and that makes it very likely they'll be able to take the fight afterward. A1, once in, has not had enough. He's going to go ahead and take down the Chester camp instead. Bambi going to have to try and find his way out. Ultimate only halfway recovered for Bambi. But Kappa Corporation able to get back, get out, and play defense here. A1 going to go ahead and tank up this tower for his team. Walrus just looking to zone for the moment. Bambi playing a bit out of that tower line, that Phoenix line. But look at the level differentials between these two teams. 3 levels down in support, 2 levels down in carry, 2 levels down in mid, 2 in the jungle, and 2 in solo. King's Court may only have 2 more kills than Kappa Corporation, but the map presence that this team has shown, absolutely sublime.
And remember, at the beginning of the game, what I said about King's Court, it's methodical the way they were playing. Other teams might have said, hey, we've got this, we've already got the tier 2, let's pressure, let's try and get the right side bird. But instead of going for that Phoenix, they say, okay, instead of going for that, let's get the tier 2, they're not going to defend the tier 2, let's strip out the jungle, make sure they don't have anything to farm while we're gone, gain what advantage we can. Let's get the Pyromancer as well. We'll back, we'll buy, and we'll push forward for something else. In this case, looks like it's going to be an Oni Fury, which is going to give them overall more map pressure than what they had before. There's still a tier 2 and left that they can go after, and it looks like a little bit of nip on the birds there already with the Stygian Beacon prior to it. So they have overall map pressure. It's going to be up to Kappa Corporation to not only defend their base, but then turn this entire game by forcing a fight in their advantage and pushing it as fast as they can down either, most likely, the mid lane. And again, it's going to be a long, long game for them. It might only take a couple minutes. We'll see what happens depending on how this engagement goes. But these couple minutes can, in their own minds, just last forever. So here goes the blink and here goes the fight.
Kappa Corporation, they're trying to keep Pojangle safe. Pojangle has to go into the Whirlpool. Pojangle looking for any kind of angle that he can. Pojangle trying to put in damage, but King's Court, they're going to take this bird. Bird goes down, but Waddle will find A1, and that could turn the fight. Pojangle trying to make his way in. Damage by this Chang'an, multiple stuns. And Rampior making his way out. King's Court, multiple low health bars, able to take a bird at the price of A1. And considering it's that left side bird, and with Fire Giant already halfway back to respawn, I think that's actually worth it.
Yeah, it won for a bird on this left-hand side, plus you're going to have Oni fire minions now coming down the left-hand side. That's going to allow them a greater ability to get this this Fire Giant. Now, you're always going to have to watch for Waddle. You're always going to have to watch for someone coming in from Kappa Corporation for the steal. But again, as we're creeping closer and closer to 30 minutes, it's not going to be quite EFG at this point, but they will get a Fire Giant before this next one coming out here. So we'll see what King's Court's going to be able to do. My guess is probably we'll wait another minute and a half. We'll let the Fire Giant spawn, gain that, and then push for at least a bird, maybe even, depending on how the fight goes, to end the game here.
So the King's Court should really be looking to push for end right now. They have the level advantage. They have multiple tanks. Like, Kappa Corporation is the only team that benefits out of these two teams. They're the team that benefits from this game going any longer.
I mean, they have to. You're going to see 6 items start, popping up here on King's Court. Kappa Corporation's capping off their 5th, looking to try and get their 6th. We do see Cerberus already with this tier 2 item in that 6th slot there, but that was at the price of not upgrading his starter. So we're going to start to see full builds coming out from King's Court. Kappa Corporation doesn't have the advantage. Ultimate coming out, and here we go, as there's the pick on the Evil Eyes.
Rumo shows Evil Eyes exactly what it means to be just straight eviscerated. Evil Eyes was there 1 second, and the next was just gone. Down for 38, 37, and ticking is this Poseidon. Can Kappa Corporation keep the King's Court out in this dire moment?
Well, and that's huge, because now, before you had the advantage of, hey, all I have to do is get close enough to drop a Kraken. Now that Kraken becomes no longer utilized as, Pojangle here, tangling with A1. But it looks like King's Court going to get the Fire Giant as we have 2 separate fights splitting up here. Waddle's going to go down, as will A1 and Bonehead.
Bonehead and Waddle going to fall, and that could very well do it. But, importantly, Evil Eyes coming back up from death. And your mage is your best shot at defending your Titan every single time. No Kraken for the moment for Evil Eyes, but I believe that comes up in 12 seconds and counting. Evil Eyes just playing back. Kappa Corporation just going to play defense. They don't want to leave the Titan room, but they don't want the Titan to fall here. Kappa Corporation, they are all in on this defense. But can Kappa Corporation do it? King's Court, they're all in on the aggressive. Rumo trying to find a kill. And they find Evil Eyes. And with that, the King's Court find the game. They 2-0 Kappa Corporation, punching above their weight to get the job done.
Taking down the #1 seed here in Puddles Division. Again, we see King's Court. Again, you said punching above their weight. Absolutely. They take down the #1 seed. They do so, as I've said, in a methodical way. And now they are all set up for next week into the finals.
Finals indeed for this King's Court group. And the 4 seed makes it through. Not something you tend to see. And as is said in just about any sport, once playoff time comes round, forget your regular season standings. They do not matter anymore. Anyone and everyone is a threat if you let them. And guess what? Kappa Corporation, if you really thought that, if you feel like Kappa Corporation didn't take them seriously, then I don't know really what to say to that outside of, then they should have taken King's Court more seriously. You can never look at a 4 seed and say, we're just that much better, we're going to roll them over.
Well, if you want to hear something else, you talked about that. I have some breaking news as well. Eternal Vanguard upset the Pittsburgh Gold Diggers. We're going to have a 3v4 in the finals next week.
That is a very, very interesting news update there. 3 seed versus 4 seed to take it all home. The 1 and 2 seeds, the favorites in your Puddles division, out in the semifinal round.
We're going to shift over here to details. And to be honest, this is probably the most telling thing out of all of it. Look at the wards. The ward coverage by the King's Court. Balrus with 12, A1 with 7. Even Rumo only has 4. I'd like to see a little bit more out of him, but the ward coverage was exquisite by King's Court, and that information helped them take the fights when they needed to. Honestly, I would say King's Court played this game as a competitive match rather than more of like a I need to carry, ranked match. I kind of saw more of the individual, bursts of skill, especially out of Waddle, on the other side. And so, to be honest, I gotta say, I think the right team won on this one, at least when it comes to a competitive match going into the finals here. So, competitive Smite is its own monster, and it looks like the King's Court have mastered that to a certain extent.
Much like 2014 in the World Cup when Germany took on Brazil, one team had a lot more skill between individual players, but the team that played together best came out on top. This has been Mechanus Cadicius here with Red Sniper, and we're going to see y'all again next week, same time for the Puddles Finals.